Hi guys, welcome to the Wrestling Retrospective, and in today's episode of the Wrestling Revisit, I'm doing my review of AEW Forbidden Door 2022. So they showcased off with a trios match which saw Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara and Minoru Suzuki defeat Shota Umino, Wheeler Yuta and Eddie Kingston to get the advantage for Blood and Guts. And yeah, this was a decent trios match. It was fairly evenly contested. Jericho and Shota Umino were kind of the MVPs of their respective teams, in my opinion. Also very cool to see Eddie Kingston have a chop off with anybody, but to have him do it with Suzuki, I thought was really cool. Because those two just beat the absolute crap out of each other whenever they were both illegal competitors. Shota Umino and Sammy Guevara were called the future of the future of AEW or the future of wrestling, and it's quite funny to look now, 3 years later, about where they both are. You know, Shota Umino has main evented Wrestle Kingdom, Sammy Guevara is kind of stuck in the realm of Ring of Honor. So, yeah, just an interesting thing to have them say and then look at where they are now. Sammy Guevara and Tay Mello were kind of just there to get the tactical advantage. They didn't really do a big parts in this match. Sammy Guevara did some really cool moves, as a kind of a athletic and showboat type thing, but other than that, he really didn't do that much. And again, same with Wheeler Yuta, he kind of was just there, like he was for the Blackpool Combat Club. He was a bit of a punching bag, and he didn't really do that much, but it shows how much his stock has risen within AEW since then. But yeah, this was a solid match, nothing particularly special. Maybe expected a little bit more, but yeah, as a starting off trios match, I thought that this was absolutely fine. Maybe the tag team title match maybe should have gone on first and this should have gone on second, just so then it had a bit of a bigger feel for a starting match. After that, FTR defeated United Empire's Jeff Cobb and Great O'Khan and Roppongi Vice to become the new IWGP World Tag Team Champions, and they retained the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships as well. But yeah, this was a really fun match. There was a lot of high octane offense here. There wasn't really a moment where this match was dull at any point. It never slowed down. United Empire kind of controlled for the most part. They were involved in more or less everything that happened, but then with the unexpected injury to Dax, I assumed that I'm not sure whether that was supposed to be the case, but yeah, they had a really good showing in this one. Rocky Romero kind of showed off his good tactical skills, but there was never a point where Roppongi Vice were ever going to win this match or were in a position to win the match. Respect to Dax, who did mess up his arm, as I've said, but when he came back into the match and continued, he was not holding back, and he just showed great resiliency towards messing his arm up, but then continuing anyway. The superplex on Cobbs into the splash from Cash, I thought that was it. I thought that was going to be the finish of the match, but it wasn't. I'd say the only person who was lost in the shuffle in this match was Trent. He didn't really do a lot. And also respect to Cash as well, who went through the match on his own, but still continuously tried to keep the match in FTR's favour. But also having the selling of him having to tag in Trent as an opposite team because he couldn't carry on anymore kind of actually made the triple threat thing kind of work with only two people in the ring, even though it annoys the hell out of me. But yeah, FTR's perseverance was great too. And yeah, this was a really, really good showing for FTR. This was kind of back when they were at their best in AEW, and they kind of hit that prime when they were holding all the tag team belts. And yeah, I'd say they were arguably in their prime at this point. And yeah, this match was just very enjoyable, very fun to watch. And yeah, I feel like the right team won here for FTR, were the best tag team in the world. And yeah, having them have all the belts made a lot of sense. After that, we had Pac defeat Clark Connors, Miro, and Malachi Black to become the inaugural All-Atlantic, which would go on to be the international champion. Yeah, this was a good match. I'd probably say this was more Pac or Miro's match to lose. I would probably arguably say that Miro was the MVP of the match. Connors had a good showing throughout, but maybe we could have seen a little bit more from him. I remember this was the first time I saw him wrestle, and I didn't really think much of him, but now going back and watching New Japan a little bit more, especially this year, and seeing him in Bullet Club, you can tell he's kind of coming to his own in that part. Black, unfortunately, he didn't really do much in the match. He had some good points and bad points, but like it was very little, and kind of, again, I expected to see a little bit more out of Malachi Black as well. Sorry, I keep calling him Alistair. But Pac was definitely the right person to win this match. Obviously, considering where Miro and Alistair Black, where they are now and the kind of situation around them two, it's kind of good that the first All Atlantic / International Champion was Pac out of the AEW representatives in this match. But yeah, overall, this was a good match. Again, it's kind of another match where I expected maybe a little bit more out of these guys, but it wasn't the worst match on the card. It probably wasn't the worst match on the show so far, but it wasn't the best match either. But yeah, Pac will obviously go on to become a very good All Atlantic / International Champion. But yeah, Miro and Malachi Black kind of fell off a little bit. Obviously, Malachi would go on to become Trios Champion, and that'll be about it. But yeah, I thought this was a fine match for what it was, and as I said, Pac was definitely the right person to win this one. Following that, we had Sting, Darby Allin, and Shingo Takagi defeat the Young Bucks and El Phantasmo, or they were down as Bullet Club. But yeah, this was great. I found this very enjoyable to watch. It was a lot better than I remember it being. Everyone, including Sting, was wrestling at such a high pace. Like, everything was kind of so smooth and kind of fluid wrestling that, yeah, like everything just came so seamless to everybody that, yeah, it was just really, really fun to watch. I do forget how good Shingo Takagi is, but every time I watch his matches, I'm reminded, and it's a really good reminder. El Phantasmo is someone I am becoming more of a fan of whenever I watch him wrestle, obviously with me watching more New Japan recently and watching the G1 as well. Yeah, El Phantasmo had a really good showing without the G1. And yeah, and this as well was a very good performance of him. His selling is very, very good. And yeah, his chemistry with the Bucks was like great. I thought that it was a shame that these guys didn't tag again after this, because they seem to work together very, very well. And it would, again, a team I would like to see come together again at some point. I feel like they will be great. Sting looked great as ever. Darby kind of was just there. I was surprised how little Darby actually did in this match. He kind of thrown himself around like he normally does, but there was never a part of the match where he was like fully in control. Which was a bit of a shame, because I do like seeing Darby. But it's just one of those things, there always seems to be in these trio matches that one person kind of falls by the wayside, and unfortunately here it was Darby Allin. But yeah, this was a lot better than I remember. It was a pleasant surprise to watch back, and as I say, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's a really fun trios match. After that, we had Thunder Rosa defeat Toni Storm to retain the AEW Women's World Championship. And yeah, this was an alright match. It felt like these two could do a lot better though. You know, I expected a great match, not just an alright match. Yeah, it had a very melodic pace to it. There was a lot of more traditional starts to the match as well. They were doing a lot of lockups and holds, quick pins, and then strikes and chops. And like, especially for the first half of the match, it was just a lot of like really slow based offense from both. Thunder Rosa, for the majority, had control of the match. She had a lot of answers to Toni Storm's pretty much regular moveset, which, yeah, it's fine. It's good that the champion kind of has done their homework on the challenger. But yeah, it kind of felt like Toni Storm never really got into this one. The finish kind of felt abrupt, and Thunder Rosa, for whatever reason, didn't look very happy to have won the match. It kind of felt like something had maybe gone wrong, or maybe, like, as said, it just... Because I believe she vacated not long after this, so maybe she was just hurt and she didn't really know what to do. But yeah, so she finished off with Dusty Rhodes' finishing instead of her own, which I guess it could be seen as a tribute, but I don't know whether it was because they wanted to finish the match early because something had happened. But again, that's just pure speculation. I don't know whether that is the case that had happened. It's just that, as I said, it felt like the finish came a bit out of nowhere and the fans didn't really react until the music started playing. Also, I don't really understand why Stardom, being the sister promotion to New Japan Pro Wrestling, why they weren't involved in the first Forbidden Door. I know they're more involved now. For example, that they have a representative in the TBS Championship that's on tonight. But yeah, like, I've never really understood why they don't as much included in Forbidden Door as the New Japan guys, especially as, like, you know, there's a stack of women on the AEW roster who could go against some of the best that Stardom has to offer. But yeah, either way, I mean, it doesn't matter. Just something that I thought was very strange. But you said this match was fine, only alright though. I expect, especially out of Thunder Rosa and especially Toni Storm, I expected a lot more out of this one. But I said it was fine. I just wanted a bit more out of them both. That's all. Following that, Will Ospreay defeated Orange Cassidy to retain the IWGP United States Championship, even though he didn't have the belt because Juice Robinson had stolen it. But yeah, this was a just absolutely brilliant match. I thought this was absolutely fantastic. Arguably, I'd probably say this was match of the night in my opinion. Quite weird watching Will Ospreay wrestle like in a kind of slow and melodic pace, but as he's the heel, it kind of makes a lot of sense. But yeah, once they got into the match and they kind of got into the flow of things, we saw the typical Ospreay style, which is very high paced, very quick, kind of throwing himself around. And obviously, we saw the same from Orange Cassidy as well. As we know, Orange can absolutely go for it when he wants to. But yeah, these two are like so quick, but also so smooth in the ring. Again, liquid wrestling is kind of what it is with these two, and it's absolutely great. Both of them have an absolutely phenomenal showing in this match. And yeah, there's no additional wrestling building into the beach break. I thought was a particular highlight. I thought that the constant reversals and then Orange Cassidy catching him just right at the end with the beach break, I thought was really, really cool and probably like the best part of the match. Probably not by far, but it's one of the better parts of the match. But then also Ospreay kicking out at like 2.98. It just had that magical feeling to it where you didn't kind of know what it was going to do to put each other down. But yeah, so good. I believe AEW recently released it on their YouTube channel to watch for free. You should definitely go check this one out. It is, I said, probably the best match on this card. And one of the highlights of Will Ospreay in AEW before he signed for them. And yeah, you totally see why AEW were trying to get their hands on him before he went anywhere else. But yeah, as I say, absolutely fantastic match. Could not say enough good about it. After that, we saw the debut of Claudio Castagnoli, and he defeated Zack Sabre Jr. in place of Bryan Danielson, who wasn't cleared to compete on the show. And yeah, this was a fantastic match, but to be fair, it's kind of to be expected with the talent that is Zack Sabre Jr. and Claudio Castagnoli. It was very evenly contested. It really could have gone either way at any time, which makes this match so much better to watch. It was an absolute classic in my opinion. It was a great and unexpected start with Claudio going straight for his patented European uppercut to kind of throw Zack Sabre off his game, and nearly got the 3 count on him almost seconds into the match. It was absolutely great. But the dynamic of this one was really unique. Both are so good at like the traditional wrestling style, the Thatcher's Catch Can kind of style, etc. That they were kind of depending on other things to get the win over each other. Claudio was depending on his strength, and Zack Sabre Jr. was depending on his speed. And yeah, it was just very enjoyable to watch. Claudio going for the sharpshooter really slowly though. One part of the match was a massive mistake, because he should know that Zack Sabre Jr. is a submission specialist, and as the sharpshooter, it's kind of like at this point in wrestling kind of a basic submission move to go for. That Zack Sabre Jr. isn't only going to know how to escape the submission, but he's going to know how to not get put in it in the first place. So yeah, again, trying to go for submissions against Zack Sabre Jr. is probably a big mistake unless you are ultra confident in your ability of being able to put on submissions and stuff. Which again, Claudio has won matches by submission, but I feel like he isn't a submission guy in my opinion anyway. But yeah, I love some of the ways that Zack Sabre Jr. finds to pin people. Some of the transitions into pinning positions I thought was really cool throughout the match. But yeah, 3 big moves to put away Zack Sabre Jr. I believe it was a power bomb and some other stuff I can't remember off the top of my head. I didn't write them down on my notes. But yeah, it made Zack look really good in defeat, made him look strong, which was great. But yeah, absolutely nothing bad to say about this match. And yeah, honestly, again, if it's on YouTube or if you can find it, do genuinely go and watch it. It is a fantastic match and a very different pace to Ospreay and Orange. That was more fast-paced and kind of more fluid wrestling, whereas this was more like traditional wrestling. The way I view it was like it's a wrestler's favourite wrestling match or favourite kind of wrestling match, because it's all about technique and all about style and that kind of stuff, which is obviously really fun to watch, but I know it's not everyone's cup of tea and some people prefer the kind of high-paced stuff that, like I said, the likes of Ospreay and Orange do. But yeah, again, this is arguably like the very close second best match of the night, but I can fully understand why people absolutely love this match as well. Following that, we had Jay White defeat Hangman Adam Page, Adam Cole, and Kazuchika Okada to retain the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship in what was another very, very good match. But again, look who's involved. You got 4 of probably the best wrestlers at that point. It was never going to be a bad match. But yeah, I did like the fact that Adam Cole and Jay White worked together for the majority of the match. At the time, they were both heels. Obviously, Jay White was the leader of Bullet Club at the time. Adam Cole is a former member of Bullet Club. So you kind of had that connections as to like why they were working together. And yeah, it worked very well. But once everything started breaking down and they were all fighting each other, the quality of the match only improved. Going into the final sequence, Adam Cole went on a Uso-like super kick spree. Unfortunately, Okada ate like the majority of the super kicks as well, but it kind of felt after a while a bit overkill as far as super kicks go. But you know, it is what it is. But yeah, like I said, it kind of looked silly when Okada was constantly going for the Rainmaker, and he kept missing like every time. I think Cole ducked under the Rainmaker like 3 times, so maybe like, and I've always had this issue with Okada matches, is the fact that he goes for the Rainmaker way too often. But yeah, the finish wasn't great. I presume Cole was supposed to kick out at the end, but obviously at that point, as we know, he was severely concussed. He was out for ages after this, so it kind of doesn't, like, it's not like a bad thing when you understand that like it wasn't Cole's fault at all. You could actually see, if you watch closely, that Jay White was kind of telling the referee to go check on Cole because something clearly wasn't right. So yeah, it was a bit of a shame because Adam Cole was pretty much the MVP of the match. He was involved in a lot of what was going on, and he made it way more enjoyable just because, like I said, he was involved with helping Jay White kind of get the advantage over Okada and Hangman, and then once it was Cole who turned on Jay White to kind of get the match into more of a fatal 4-way feel. But yeah, so that was the other part that took away from it was the Adam Cole finish and Okada constantly going for Rainmakers. But again, Jay White, it never felt as if he was going to lose the title here. We knew that if he was going to lose, it was only going to be to Okada, which could have happened, I guess, but it wasn't the case. But this was still a fantastic match overall. If you take away like the last 5 minutes, I felt like it would have been probably the 3rd best match on the card, probably just behind Claudio and Zack Jr. But yes, a bit of a shame about the consequence of the match with Adam Cole being taken out for so long. But you know, these things happen. I know Jay White went on to become a pretty decent IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, from what I can understand from people talking about him as IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. But yes, a very good match to have on, a second to last. And finally, in the main event, Jon Moxley defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi to become the interim AEW World Champion, which is so silly why they made it interim champion. But yeah, this was good. Like, I expected a little bit more, especially out of Tanahashi. You know, when you've got 2 certified Hall of Famers wrestling in, you kind of just expect these two to put on like an absolute banger, and unfortunately that just kind of wasn't the case here. Moxley controlled for the most part. I'd probably say it was about 65% Moxley and 35% Hiroshi Tanahashi, which is a bit of a shame. I've even put in my notes, yes, this is the match where a sling blade cut open, but Jon Moxley, who at the time was like bleeding so often that it became a meme, and even Excalibur on commentary was saying that like, but he would go on to be able to say stuff like, oh yeah, it's a day that ends in Y, so of course Moxley's bleeding. But yeah, I said after that though, after Moxley got split open, it kind of became way more in his favour. We had a bit of offense from Tanahashi taking advantage of the fact that Moxley was bloody, but yeah, after a while, Moxley was just beating the crap out of him. He was doing a load of stomps and hammer anvil elbows, and then into the sleeper, which then he then turned into the bulldog. And yeah, it just kind of felt like it was all Moxley, and Tanahashi was just in there getting beaten up. It was kind of like a really weird feeling knowing that like Tanahashi is a legend over in New Japan Pro Wrestling, that like this match would be so one-sided. But yeah, I said a bit of a disappointment in Tanahashi's performance. I kind of expected a little bit more, and I remember thinking that at the time, with it being the first time I was watching Tanahashi ever, and I'd only heard of how great he is. But yeah, overall, it was a fine match. It was good. I was just left wanting more out of this one. But the bleeding was so unnecessary that it kind of made it comical to a degree. But yeah, just a bit of a disappointing match to have as main event. Maybe, the thing is, there's nothing else that really would have been main event, which is like disappointing as well. Maybe they should have had someone else face Jon Moxley and had Tanahashi face somebody else further down the card. But yeah, I said just As I said, I kind of just like watching this at the time. I remember feeling like I wanted more, and then rewatching it now, I felt exactly the same way, which is a bit of a shame, but you know, it is what it is sometimes. So there's my thoughts and opinions on Forbidden Door 2022. I thought with Forbidden Door being literally tonight, that it'd be cool to go back and watch the first ever Forbidden Door. And yeah, overall it's a pretty decent show. It kind of is like a show of two halves. The first half was kind of fine and okay, well the second half, you know, with the likes of Ospreay and Orange, the six-man tag including Sting and Zack Sabre Jr. and Claudio Castagnoli, I thought those matches absolutely killed it. But yeah, I said overall I thought it was a decent show. I thought that maybe New Japan could have had a better showing on this one, and they definitely should have had Stardom involved. But yeah, do put down in the comments below what you thought of this show and what you're looking forward to tonight on tonight's Forbidden Door 2025. And yeah, so thank you very much for watching. Do subscribe. There's a lot of stuff covering, obviously coverage of this year's Forbidden Door and Heatwave, as well as Clash in Paris next week are coming up on the channel, as well as cool lists. I've been uploading over the last couple of days my top 50 best wrestlers in ring or bell to bell right now, so do check those lists out. I can imagine it kind of is how you expect it to go, but maybe I'll put some surprises in there that you want to check out. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.